Thank you for your purchase of a Frostbox mini split air conditioning system. In this video, we'll walk you through the basic steps necessary to install your new air conditioner. But first, let's familiarize ourselves with the components packaged with your new system. Packaged with your Frostbox air conditioning system, you'll have two boxes. You'll have one larger box containing your outdoor condensing unit, and you'll have a smaller box containing your indoor evaporator and line set. After unboxing your evaporator, you'll want to start by removing the wall mounting bracket. The wall mounting bracket is located on the rear of the evaporator. Just simply grab the lower portion, pull it out, and unhook it from the top. To start your installation, you'll want to begin by installing the wall bracket for the evaporator coil. Do this ensuring that it's mounted securely to the wall and capable of holding 175 pounds. On the evaporator, you'll find several knockouts to allow for a flush installation. In this video, we're going to be using this knockout, which I can just simply grab and pull away from the unit, allowing the line set to come through. With the 2 and 3 ton Frostbox mini split air conditioning system, you have the option to relocate the temperature probe. Let's walk through the steps necessary to relocate the temperature probe. To relocate the temperature probe, you'll want to start by opening the cover of the indoor evaporator and removing the filter from the right-hand side. With the filter removed, we can now see the temperature probe. To remove the temperature probe, unlock it from the connector, and then we'll need to cut this zip tie. Located on the rear of the head unit, you'll find the temperature probe wiring loom. It's held in place with 3 zip ties. We'll need to cut these zip ties free to be able to take out the wiring loom. With the zip ties cut away from the wiring loom, you can now pull the wiring loom along with the temperature probe out of the back of the unit. This temperature probe can now be relocated to anywhere else in the room. On the rear of the evaporator, you'll find 2 notches that correspond with 2 tabs on the wall mounting bracket. To hang the evaporator, you'll just simply lock those notches onto those tabs. With the evaporator hung on the wall mounting bracket, you can now lock the lower portion in place by just simply pressing it against the wall mounting bracket. The next step will be to install the outdoor condensing unit. You'll want to locate the unit outside of the room being cooled, preferably outdoors or in an area with good ventilation. Now that you've installed your indoor evaporator, you'll want to run the line set to the outdoor location. The line set is a flexible stainless steel line set that you don't have to worry about kinking. The next step of our installation will be to connect the line set to the outdoor condensing unit. On the side of the condensing unit, you'll find the quick connect fittings. We'll want to begin by removing the dust covers. And then you want to remove the dust covers from the ends of the line set. With the dust covers removed, we can now start connecting the quick connect fittings. Simply line up the fittings and start tightening it by hand. After it's been tightened by hand, you can then use a wrench to completely tighten the fitting. The 1 ton mini split uses a buckling type system for the quick connect fittings. Now that the line set has been connected to the outdoor condensing unit, we'll now want to open the service valves. To open the service valves, using a wrench, remove the caps. With the caps removed, you can use the Allen wrench packaged with your unit to open the valves. With the service valves open, you can now put the caps back on. Located behind the evaporator, you'll find the drain tube connection. The drain allows the condensation produced as the unit's operating to run off. The drain tube extension can be slipped over the end of the drain tube, with the other end run either to a drain, to waste, or to a bucket to be reused. We will now want to connect the line electrical to the unit. To do this, we'll need to remove the access cover. You'll now want to locate the wires running with your line set and connect them to the outdoor condensing unit. You'll notice tabs on each of the wires with letters and numbers. We'll want to match those up with the corresponding connectors inside of the condensing unit. We can now reinstall the electrical cover panel. Now we'll want to supply power to the outdoor condensing unit. This will supply power to the entire system. Locate the wire that's coming out of the condensing unit with 3 bare ends. The black and white wires will both go to power. Our green and yellow wire will go to ground. All of our units use 240 volts. Our 1-ton and 2-ton unit have a 20 amp maximum override. Our 3-ton unit has a 30 amp maximum override. The installation is now complete. Let's spend a minute and look at the controls for the unit. After the batteries have been installed in your remote, you can now slide the cover down to access the clock button. Pressing the clock button will cause the time to start flashing. You can use the up button to set the hours and the down button to set the minutes. This clock runs on a 24-hour schedule, so understand that 1300 will be 1 o'clock. Pressing the large red button will power the unit up. You can then use the mode button to select whatever function it is that you want from the unit. In our next step, we'll want to set a program for the system to operate with. To do this, we'll use the mode button to select which mode of operation to use. In our case, we're going to use cooling. You can use your up and down arrows to select the temperature you want your room to operate at. In our example, we're going to use 77 degrees. You can then use the timer button to turn on the timing sequence. It'll start with the off position. We'll want to select 7 o'clock p.m. for our example, which on a 24-hour clock will read 1900 hours. You can use the down button to set the minutes. To set an on time, press the timer again. You can then again use your up and down arrows to set the time. In our example, we're going to have an on time for 7 o'clock. At this point, your timer is programmed. Allow the system to just cycle through and it'll by default start running your program.